Do you think you are biased while solving a problem? Are you ready to challenge your assumptions and improve your decision making? Unleash your inner Elon Musk using the first principle thinking, which includes identifying the current assumptions, breaking down the problem, and creating new solutions from scratch. Exactly. Data sufficiency will help you in honing your first principle thinking approach. Anytime in real life while solving any question, we subconsciously use some bias or assumptions without even knowing it. So in this particular video, we'll solve some questions on data sufficiency to figure out if you have any subconscious bias or you use the data objectively based on rational decision. What is data sufficiency? Data sufficiency, as the name suggests, is about deciding if the data is sufficient enough to arrive at an information. So your job is to decide if that information is sufficient enough to arrive at a unique answer. The data sufficiency format includes a question followed by information 1 and information 2. Data sufficiency questions primarily test your critical thinking skills, which is the ability to analyze information, identify gaps, and make logical deductions. Problem-solving skills, which is the capacity to break down complex problems into smaller parts. Decision-making skills, the ability to evaluate information and make judgments based on the evidence provided. And finally, focus and concentration to avoid. So let's start with the first question. So here, you need to find the unique value of x with the given information. The first information is x is greater than 999. Now, first information doesn't help. There are lots of numbers which are greater than 999. So let's see the second information. Now, the second information alone doesn't help because there are a lot of numbers which is lesser than 1001. So what if I combine the two statements? Why arrive at a unique answer? Is it x is 1000? You arrive at a unique answer. No, that is not the answer because here you cannot assume that x is an integer. It could be a fraction. So even after combining the two statements, you will have lots of values of x. Hence, here the information is not sufficient enough, right? Because you can simply not assume that x is an integer. Okay, so now let's see whether you can solve this next one. This next question is, can you find the value of x and y? The first information is the sum of x and y is 5, and the second statement says the product is 4. Now, individually the two statement doesn't help, but if I combine the two statements, are you able to figure out the values? Yeah, don't get into solving a quadratic and all, right? Try to use a macro approach. So here, yes, 4 plus 1, the sum is 5 and the product is 4. The values are 4 and 1. Can I deduce that I get a unique set of answer for this question using statement 1 and 2? No. Again, cannot assume. Here, you're getting two set of values. One is 4, 1. That is x is 4, y is 1. The second set of value is x is 1, y is 4. So you are not able to locate which is x and which is y. So you cannot get a unique answer with the given information. Okay, great. Now moving on to the next one. Here, you just have to prove is x greater than y or is it not? So let's see the first information. Yeah, the first information says x is less than y. Now, this is sufficient enough to draw a conclusion, yeah? That is definitely your x is not greater than y. The first statement is sufficient enough to get an answer. Now, let's see the second statement. It says x and y both are positive integer. Now, this doesn't help, right? It is just defining x and y without telling us any relationship between x and y. So here, you would say that first statement alone is sufficient to arrive at an answer. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this is very interesting. Now, you can pause the video and see if you're able to get the correct answer without any assumptions. So, you have to find the ages of 3 brothers, right? So, the first statement is when you multiply the ages, you get the product as 15. The first statement alone is not sufficient, so you can say the ages are like 1, 3, 5, Is it? Is there any other value? Now remember, you don't say the age is 1.8 and 1.5. It is a proper natural number, right? So do you think the first statement is sufficient enough to arrive at an answer? Hold your thought. Moving on to the second statement. Sum of the ages is not divisible by 3. Now this on the outset looks like a redundant statement. So can I conclude that first statement is sufficient to arrive at an answer? Yeah, so if I ask you the ages, you'll say the oldest brother is 5-year-old and the youngest is 1-year-old using the statement 1 alone. No, definitely that is not the answer. We have gotten, yes, there are two possibilities, right? The product can be 135 or 1,115. The first statement is not sufficient. However, if I combine the second statement, right, that is the sum should not be divisible by 3. So if I add 1, 3 and 5, I get 9, which is divisible by 3. So that cannot be the ages. But if I add 1, 115, I get 17, which is not divisible by 3. So using both the statements, I can get the unique value of the ages of the three brothers, which is 1, 1 and 15. Interesting? Okay. Moving on to the next one. Hope you get this one right. So better pause the video, solve it, and check whether you are not using any pre-assumed bias or assumptions, right? So let's see the first statement. The product is 18. The question very clearly mentions that they are all integers, right? So product 18 means it could be 18 into 1, 9 into 2, or 3 into 6. So there are three possibilities, right? When I say the product is 35, it could be 7 5s are 35, right? And what else? So 7 into 5, that's it. No other possibilities. Or 35 into 1 maybe, right? So both statements alone doesn't help, right? You're not getting a unique sum of A, B and C. That is, you don't get the unique value of A, B and C. So of course you will combine. So on combining, what is a common value you can get? Now B is common in both. The only way B can be same would be B is 1. So you have A as 18. 18 into 1 is 18. And second statement is 1 into 35. So can I say that you get the answer using both the statements? A unique answer. So A is 18, B is 1 and C is 35. So can I declare? Of course not. When we say integers, it could be positive as well as negative. So A can be minus 18, B can be minus 1 and C can be minus 35. So you get two set of answers, right? Integers can be positive or negative. So again, the information is not sufficient enough to deduce. Great. So let's go to the last one and hope that you definitely get this one correct. The question is A plus 1 by A equal to 2? Right, so you just have to prove, is it definitely true or definitely false? The first statement says A square is 1. Now that means A can be plus 1 or minus 1. Now when A is plus 1, it is true, right? 1 plus 1 is 2. But when A is minus 1, the equation is incorrect. So the first statement gives you two answers, so that is not sufficient, right? So let's move on to the second statement. A is negative. Does that help? Think and tell me what would be the answer for this question. That is, can you solve this question using only one of the statement? You need to combine, or even after combining, you don't get an answer. Okay, the answer is second statement alone is sufficient. You don't need the information of first one. Why do you need an extra data? So think without using the statement 1. If second statement is given, which says A is negative, you know negative plus negative can never give you a positive answer. So the sum will never be 2. So second statement alone is sufficient. If you have gotten all this correct, why don't I give you a challenging question? You can give me the answer in the comments. The question is X greater than Y? The first statement says 1 by X is less than 1 by Y. Okay? And the second statement is Y is the smallest 3-digit prime number. So you mark the answer as A. If only statement 1 is enough, you comment it as B If only second statement is enough, you can comment it as C, that is if you need to combine. And even after combining you don't get an answer, mark it as B. All the best. In today's over-information world, sometimes the toughest task is to go through all the data without any assumptions and come to a conclusion. Human psychology generally have some biases or blind spots. And that's why probably in all entrance exams like CAT, GMAT, GRE and all, questions are asked on data sufficiency to check whether the student is able to critically think, go through the data and come to an answer. If you like to solve more such questions to exercise your brain, then go through this video on your screen. Now I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.